I'm Jim Zemlin. I'm the Executive Director of the Linux Foundation. The Linux Foundation Collaboration Summit grows year by year. To this year, we have a record turnout. We've got over 500 attendees for an event that's being held in the worst recession since the Great Depression, apparently, and that really shows that Linux is sort of defying the economic climate and continues to grow. The state of the Linux ecosystem is very, very good. Linux continues to be the fastest growing computing platform in almost every aspect of technology, from consumer electronic devices to mobile telephone handsets to small notebook computers to server technology that runs large enterprises and high performance computing that runs mission critical science programs, weather forecasting, large supercomputer farms, and so forth. I don't think I can point to one engine of growth for Linux that'll take us through the downturn, because it's really growing in all aspects of computing. It's the downturn itself that's creating the growth in the use of Linux in almost every sector of computing, because it's very cost effective. Not only is it something that dramatically reduces the research and development cost for a vendor trying to bring a product to market, but it also dramatically, for example, if you're in a consumer electronics business, but it also dramatically reduces the cost of IT for an enterprise by using Linux to consolidate their existing infrastructure. Linux runs on more types of computing architectures than any other platform. It's easy to manage, robust, and obviously, because it's open source and is available from a variety of competing vendors, the cost is very competitive. We're excited about the Zemlin project because the nature of client computing is changing. What people traditionally think of as a phone is starting to look a little more like a desktop computer, where you have a keyboard and you can play music and videos and do your email. And computers are starting to look more like phones, where you have voice over IP functionality. Is a tablet computer something you carry around like a phone? Is a phone something you carry around like a computer? Are you going to see phones in your car running your dashboard with not only GPS mapping information, but information about nearby restaurants, entertainment, and so forth? And so as the nature of what client computing is converges into all sorts of new type of devices, whether it's in a car or a phone or a tablet, maybe something we've never even thought of, it's important to have a new platform that can meet that convergence in client computing. And Zemlin really represents what that future platform can be by providing a free, massively impressive toolkit to create these new next generation devices. The way it does that is by having all of the source code openly available, so a huge number of developers or consumer electronic makers can utilize that code to create these projects. It's flexible, not only in its design in terms of how you can take it to put it in an automotive system, for example, or put it into a tablet computer, but it's also flexible in terms of how it can be branded to support whatever product a particular company or person is trying to make. And so we're excited about hosting a project like this. The reason we took on a project like this is because it answers a few of the questions that we ask ourselves at the Linux Foundation about things that we do. Does it move the needle for the Linux platform and promote the idea of open source? Is it something that requires more than just one organization or individual to work on? In other words, do you need a big collective, a consortium of people to work on this in order to really move a big market? And three, is it something that the foundation, with our technical resources, with the position we hold in the industry, that we're equipped to help facilitate. And all answer to all of those questions, the answer was yes with Moblin, and so we're excited to have it here at the foundation. I mean, we were happy to assume the ownership and maintenance of Linux.com website. As you know, the Linux Foundation maintains the Linux trademark on behalf of Linus Torvalds and everyone. Obviously, the Linux.com website is an important asset for Linux. But more importantly, we look at, in answer to the questions about why we exist, by taking on Linux.com, are we helping grow the platform? Is this something people need to work on collectively, and is this something we're equipped for? And one of the big things about Linux that makes it great is that sort of anybody can participate, and anybody can write and add to and sort of build on the collective knowledge that is Linux, whether that's code, whether that's documentation, whether that's news stories, whether that's legal information, and so forth. And so if you go and do a Google search for Linux information, you get back a massive amount of information in response to that query. And while there is tons of content out there, because there's so many people adding to that collective, there is a need for context, for somebody to be able to help folks understand what might be important or unimportant depending on their particular point of view. And so we hope with Linux.com to produce an infrastructure that can help provide some of that context. And it's not even necessarily the Linux Foundation that's going to provide that context or be able to define what's important. We're going to allow the Linux community itself to be able to vote up and down particular ideas, to be able to answer questions of each other, to be able to plan meetings and events for a local Linux users group on the site, to be able to find cool new applications for Linux on the site. And so there's what you're going to see from Linux.com is a site that's really created for the community, by the community, in order to provide this context. The first step we did to that end was we asked, instead of just launching a website, we asked the community themselves, what do you want to see? And we did that in the form of an idea forge where people come to the Linux.com website today, they give us their ideas about what they'd like to see, they vote them up and down, and hopefully we'll be able to implement all of the great ideas that we've already seen today. So if you want to know what's going to be on Linux.com, the best thing to do is go look at the Idea Forge site that's up today on Linux.com. And if you want to influence what is on Linux.com, the best thing to do is actually submit an idea and vote on that idea yourself. LinuxCon is going to be a great event where we expand on the events that we're already doing. So the event we're at right now, the Collaboration Summit, is an invitation-only event for the leaders in Linux. And so one of the reasons it's invitation-only is because we only have so much space at a facility to facilitate a meeting like this. And there is a role where leaders can get together and exchange ideas and then take those back and disseminate them to other folks that they work with, whether it's as a vendor or whether it's in their particular community. At LinuxCon, what we really want to do is expand that tremendously and not make it an invitation-only event, but open it up to a much larger community of people to come and get information about Linux. And not just developers, but large users of Linux or even small users of Linux. So it could be folks from operations in a company that depends on Linux to run their business. It could be a hobbyist who's interested in the latest versions of desktop Linux. And what you're going to see at this event is not only some of the finest information from some of the most brilliant people in the world of Linux in terms of technical information, but you'll see folks who are really breaking ground in the Linux community. People like Mark Shuttleworth will be there to talk about Ubuntu. Bob Suter from IBM will be there to talk about what their company's doing on the leading edge using Linux. And we'll have hundreds of other participants that people will be able to learn from. Hopefully we'll be able to make Linux all the better for that. The way I really like to think of LinuxCon is, it's a throwback to the kind of event that I think early in the days of Linux, so many people enjoyed, where you could get together, hallway conversations were intriguing, exciting, technical ideas were up in the air, people had new hardware that they were doing really cool and interesting things with Linux on. And back then that was largely in the PC world, but at LinuxCon maybe we'll see folks with exciting new forms of computing that we've never even thought of, and showing folks how they've hacked together some kind of new internet tablet or an interesting cell phone using Linux or something I can't even think of right now. So I'm looking forward to the event.